This is introduction to data analysis on Excel spreadsheet. Guys, welcome back again to this training. And today we are going to look at how to analyze your data on Excel using 6 main functions. Now, the first function that we are going to look at how it works is the counter. Then the second one is the count function. The third one is the count blank function. The fourth one is Countifs function. The fifth one is sum function, Sumifs function, and the last one is the average ifs function. So guys, make sure that you stay in this training up to the end. Now, the very first thing that you want to do, we want to get the total number of orders, and our number of orders are found on column A. That is where we find our order column. Let us move up to the top so that we can see what is happening. Now we come to where we have orders. Just beside it, I'm going to start by typing equal sign. Whenever you are writing any function on Excel, you start by writing equal sign. Now equal sign, then type count. After typing count, you can see the arguments for that particular function is the value 1, value 2, up to the last value, which is not defined. Now let us come here. Let us start selecting from number 6, where we have the orders up to the last one. Then let us close the bracket, enter. You can see it is 0, but it's not supposed to be 0. There is something that has not been done well here. Let us just find out what the problem might be. Let us go back to where we had written our function, then double click, then that is what we have. Let us try to delete it. Then let us click on count function. Therefore, we see that count function only counts the number of cells in a range that contain numbers. Now, count function will only count those cells with numerical values. When we have text within a cell, count function will not count. And when we come to these cells, you can see these are not numbers, these are text. They appear like numbers, but they are not numbers because of the separator, the hyphen separator that makes them a text. Now let us just come here and type counter. Now counter counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. Any empty cell will be counted by the function counter. So the right function here is counter. Then let us select it again. You can now see we have the total number of orders made during this marketing period was 1039 orders. That is how counter works. Counter counts the number of cells that are not empty. Let us come here. We want to count the missing priorities. The missing priorities here, we simply want to count those cells that are empty. Now, which function is going to help us count an empty cells? No, empty cells. Now, let us come here. If you may guess, it is count blank. Now, count blank function counts the number of empty cells in a specified range of cells, just from the name count blank. Now, that is what we have. Again, let us select under the order priority from the first order priority to the last order priority. Let us close the bracket. No. Let us come back to this cell. Now equal sign, count blank. Now because this particular column has already been named, it is a named range, we are just going to write the word order priority. When we write the word order priority, the whole column is going to be selected. The order priority, and you can see the whole column has been selected. Then we are going to close the bracket. Then from that you can see we have two columns that are, not two columns, but two cells that do not have any value. Now let us come to where we want to count the numbers, the numerical values. We have seen that count function is the function that helps us to count those cells that contain numerical values. We want to count the number of orders that have been shipped. Now in this case, we are going to use that column that has the ship date. Now again, let us start by writing equal sign count. It is the shipping date. And if you can guess, the total number of orders made are 1,039 orders. Then we have two blank cells. Those are maybe things that someone just forgot to include. Now, if you subtract the 2 from 1,039, you are supposed to have 1,037, and therefore the total number of shipped orders supposed to be 1,037. Let us just confirm whether that is the case. No. Let us come back again. This is the order date. We are not talking about the order date, but the shipping date. That is 37, and our guess is just right. Now, let us come to where we are supposed to use the Countifs function, the Sumifs, and the averageifs. This is our dashboard, and we want to count the number of order by state. Remember, we have three states in this case. We have the VIC, we have the New South Wales, and we have the Western Australia. Now, first we want to start by counting the number of orders made by the VIC state. Now the function that is going to help us do this is the Countifs function. It's just a logical function. It is only going to count those values that have been given a certain set of criteria. Now let us start by typing Countifs, and you can see it counts the number of cells specified by a given set of conditions or criteria. Now, it has various arguments that go into it. The first one is the criteria range 1, then criteria range 2, up to the criteria range last. Now, our criteria range is the state. We want to count the number of states. Yes, our first criteria range is the state. We want to see how many times does that the VIC state appear on that particular column. Now we are going to start with the state. Then we are going to select VIC. We want to see how many times it appears on the state column. Then we close the bracket. Then we enter, and you can see it appears 289 times. That means that the total number of orders made by the VIC state is 289. For the remaining states, we are just going to copy this formula downwards so that we can get the orders made by the two states. And you can now see the New South Wales has total number of orders 646. The Western Australia has total number of orders 104. Let us come to the number of orders made by customer type. Again, we are going to use the Countifs function. Countifs. In this case, the criteria range 1 is going to be the customer type. The customer type column is the column that we are looking for, and it is now the range that we want to count. Then the first The first assignment is to find out how many times does the home office customer type appear on that particular column. Then the second one is going to be how many times that the consumer appear on that column, small business appear on that column, and lastly, how many times does the corporate customer type appear on that particular column. That is going to give us the total number of orders made by each and every customer type. Now, the second criteria is going to be the home office. We select it like that. Close the bracket, then enter. Not really. It is the customer type, not customer name. Customer type. Yes, and you can see the total number of orders made by this customer type home office was 246. If you want for the remaining customer types, consumer, small business, and corporate, we are just going to copy this formula down. And you can see we have result for the remaining customer types. Guys, I think up to here we do not have any other question. We are going to proceed like this. Now let us come to the Sumifs function. Not the Sumifs, but before we move to the Sumifs function, we want to see the total number of orders made that were above 40. We want to see how many orders were made that were above 40. Now we are going to again use the Countifs function. Countifs. Now the criteria range is the order quantity. That is the range that we are looking for. That is the column we want to find the total number of orders that were more than 40. Now order quantity, that is our criteria range 1. Then criteria range 2, we are being told orders quantity over 40. Now it must be something greater than 40. Just type it on your keyboard, then close. You can see that formula is not working. There is something we are forgetting to include here. Whenever there is an expression on an Excel spreadsheet, we are supposed to enclose that expression within a quotation mark. Now we are going to enclose that greater than 40. It is an expression. You do it that way, then you enter. So you can see the total number of orders that were above 40 for the whole state, or for all those states and all the customer types, was 238. Now let us move to the last part where we now want to look at how Sumifs function works. Here now we have a number of account managers, and by the way, the data that we are referring to is on the orders column. We are just using this other worksheet because these cells or these columns have been given names. So we do not necessarily have to go back and select the whole column. Now let us come here. We want to see the total amount in sales, the total sales in amount that were made by each and every account manager. Now, again, start by typing equal sign, Sumifs, and for the Sumifs function, you can see it adds the cells specified by a given set of conditions or criteria. Now here the sum range, remember it is the total. It is the total column. The sum range is the total column. You want to add the total sales made by each and every account manager. Now total is the sum range. Then we move to the criteria, number 1. Criteria number 1 is now the account manager. You can see under this column we have account managers. We want to see what was the total volume of sales made by each and every account manager. So we are referring to the account manager. Then after referring to the account manager, we'll come to the individual account managers to find out their individual sales volumes for the whole period. Now again, you type account manager. Under the criteria 1, now the criteria 2 is now the first account manager. We are just going to select it like that, then close the bracket, then enter. Now you can see for the first account manager, Countifs, this was the total volume of sales he made during that period. $135,493.75. If you want the same for the remaining account managers, we cannot continue doing the same thing. We are just going to copy this formula down. So just drag it this way up to the last account manager and you'll get values for the remaining account managers. Up to there, we do not have any question. Let us proceed. Now, you can see we have the total volume of sales for each and every account manager. Now, we want it to be broken down in terms of the years. We have years from 2013 to 2016. We want to see for the first account manager, Countifs, what was the total volume of sales he made in 2013, in 2014, in 2015, and in 2016, instead of just having the total volume of sales made for the whole period. Now, again, we are going to click under the 2013 cell, equal sign, Sumifs. Our sum range is still going to be total, the totals column, that is our sum range. Our criteria range 1 is going to be the account manager. Our criteria range 2, that is now under criteria range 1, is going to be the first account manager. Then we have to move to the next criteria, that is criteria range 2. Not the criteria range 2, but the criteria 2. We need the criteria 2 because we are now working with two arrays. In this case, we have the first column where we have the account managers. Then we have these rows where we have the years. Now we want that criteria that will specify or make reference to these individual years. Now, each and every year has been given a name, or the years column has been given a name, and it has been given order year. So that is what we want. That is the criteria 2. The order year. Then now criteria 2, under criteria 2 is the 2013 cell. Then we close our bracket, then click enter. If you want the same for other account managers, we are just going to copy this formula down, and again we are going to copy the same formula across for the remaining years. Let us see how it happens. You can see we have zeros, and why is it that we are having zeros instead of having discrete values? Let us come back here. There is something called absolute cell reference. Absolute cell reference simply means that we have to lock a particular cell. We have absolute cell reference, the relative cell reference, and the mixed cell reference. Now in this case, we are going to use the mixed cell reference. That simply says that for the account managers, we want to lock the row and leave the column open. Then for the years, we want to lock the columns and leave the rows open. Now, this is what we are going to do. Click just immediately before that cell, the first cell that is for the first account manager. Then on your keyboard, you are going to click F4. You can see it has been enclosed within $signs. Click again, click again. You should click until the $sign comes just before that particular cell. This means that this cell has been locked only for the rows side, but it has not been locked for the column side. Now let us come to where we have the years. Again, let us lock it. Click on the F4 key on your keyboard again. 1, 2. We have locked the rows, but we have locked the columns, but we have not locked the rows. Now let us enter and see whether it is going to work. Now copy this formula down. For account managers, you can see we have now values. Copy it across and we have our values.